Good day everyone and welcome back to the 2021 nesting season. I sincerely hope you were all keeping well and safe. In our last video we saw Biddy doing an absolute sight of nest building on the 2nd. And this of course brings us to the 3rd. And I promised you another day of full nest building. And Biddy does not disappoint. On the 3rd it was nice and sunny and it was one of the hotter days that we've had this year so far. So Biddy was in full nesting mode, but as I'm sure you are all aware, the weather changed over the last couple of days, and it's really interesting to see how Biddy and Miley responded to that. As it's been very warm, and it actually suddenly dropped quite cold, with some minus temperatures at night certainly, and even with some frosty mornings and even a little touch of snow. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here as we've got the whole 3rd to get through, and a huge amount of work, as I've said, is done. So we can see Biddy here going into hyperdrive, and something really nice happens for the first time this year. It's one of my favourite things to spot, is Miley feeding Biddy. And male birds do this while nest building. We're going to see it here now. We see Biddy arrive in with some moss, and Miley in, giving her a little bit of food, which is always, needless to say, adorable to see. But it's always very interesting behaviour because not all males do this, and some males do it very little and some males do it quite a lot. But most males do it to some extent, and I always find that it's a good indication that they're going to be a good father and get a lot of food and provide a lot of food for their young. And what we're also seeing is Biddy spending more and more time in the box. She's in the box here for a total of about 40 minutes. You can see her sitting up at the hole there, but watch the time. It keeps going. Now, it jumps sometimes as she doesn't move. She moves so little, should I say, that it doesn't even set off the motion sensor. So what is she doing when she spends these huge amount of times in the box? Well, to be perfectly honest, she seems to do it on very busy days when she keeps very busy. And she's having these little mindful moments, is what I'm liking to call them, just to relax and take a little bit of a rest. And I'm sure you know about myself at this stage, I always do enjoy seeing them take these moments and taking a little breather out of their busy little lives. As in the animal kingdom, time and energy is a hugely valuable resource, and the amount of time and energy that birds put into building their nests just shows how important it is to them that their genes get pushed on into the next generation. And indeed, all animals really only spend time and energy on 1, survival, and 2, breeding. And having young for blue tits is a hugely costly process. We only have to look at Biddy to see how hard she is working in constructing the nest first off, but it doesn't just stop there. And indeed, it started even earlier than that. One, they had to pair up, and that would have had their arguments and bickerments between the males. What then follows is they have to go around looking for nest sites and then choosing the best one. They then have to defend their chosen nest sites from competitors, let it be grey tits, coal tits, or even other pairs of blue tits. Now, thankfully, we haven't seen them back too much, and certainly not the grey tits. And then we finally get to the nest building portion that we're only seeing now. And of course, you know what follows is the completion of the nest, and then the laying of the eggs, the rearing of the young, until they fledge, and indeed until after they fledge as well. Blue tits will feed their young for quite a while after they fledge the nest. So as I said, a huge commitment of time and energy. Time and energy that could be spent in feeding themselves and indeed just trying to survive themselves. So why all this energy put into the next generation? Well, I don't have the answer for that, but it's obviously hugely important for them, and it's obviously important to their overall survival of the species. And this brings us finally to the 4th. Now, the day starts like any other, but the temperature starts to drop on the 4th, as I'm sure you all remember. So how does this affect nest building? well, it actually drastically affects it. We can see Biddy arrive as usual at 6:30 in the morning and starts her nest building activity. But note she's not bringing too much in whatsoever. She's more popping in, doing a few nesting shuffles, and that's really it. A few pieces make their way in, but sometimes it's the pieces that have been taken out. And this behaviour continues throughout the morning, but with very little change actually happening to the nest. And certainly in comparison to the 2 days before that, where she really couldn't get enough moss in quick enough. We can see at around 10 o'clock that she does start bringing a few small pieces in, but really nothing in terms of what we've been seeing in the last couple of days. And this is certainly down to the colder weather, but what actually happens even caught me on the hop. Biddy and Miley disappear for a full 24 hours without visiting the box once. I was actually starting to worry for either Biddy or Miley's safety that maybe something had happened to one of them, but they don't show up on the 5th whatsoever. And in fact, I didn't even see them in the garden once, so much so that the other pair of blue tits on the 5th arrived. When I saw this first, I assumed it was Miley arriving in and checking out the nest. But in a matter of fact, it's the other pair of blue tits that we've been seeing visiting the nest box on occasion. So Biddy and Miley aren't even defending the tree on the 5th, and these guys feel comfortable enough to come in and check out the nest box. You can see the other female looks completely different than Biddy. She has a much smoother complexion than her, but it doesn't stop her having a good look around Biddy's nest, and I'm sure she would love to snatch it, but I don't think Biddy, if she's still around, would in fact allow this. But it really goes to show just how competitive it is out there, that Biddy and Miley take the foot off the pedal in terms of defending their nest just for a day, and there's already people, or birds should I say, checking it out. And this has all co-aligned with the change in weather, which is really amazing, as Biddy was all for nest building just a couple of days ago, and then to not even show up the nest or defend it in cold weather. It really shows just how influenced they are by the weather. And my guess would be is that Biddy, when encountering the cold weather after all the hard work, had to go take care of herself and prioritise getting food. So does the famous couple make an appearance on the 6th? Well, a male bird does arrive in at 27 minutes past 6 the following day, but is it Miley or is it the male bird of the other pair? But as this video is already getting a little long, I'm going to leave you guessing. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you again. Bye bye.